Good afternoon to all the live viewers from Body Mind Soul magazine live talk. Yeah, so welcome to another beautiful Saturday. And yes, will be the last Saturday of May before we enter the half quarter of the year. So how's everyone doing in this beautiful sunshine afternoon? So Kuala Lumpur has kind of like go through a full day raining, yeah. But I am going to kick off this live talk with a number 76,786. Okay, so this is not a number for you to buy, like lucky number for you, but it is actually the current divorce statistics. 76,786 divorces were filed nationwide between March 2020 and August 2021, resulting in a 34.8% increase in the divorce from 56,975 in 2019. This is the source from Bernama. So the question for all of us to ponder is divorce really still a taboo subject in today's society when it is becoming increasingly common? And how about what are the psychological effects of a divorce on a person, the children, and their family members? So if you are wondering together with me all these numbers like 76,786, and this is only in Malaysia. So we welcome you to Body Mind Soul Live Talk number 92, where we are going to talk about family dynamics in single parent family, right? So how about to ask all of you, do you happen to know any friends of yours who are actually going through the process of divorce, or they are divorced already? So honestly, I do have a few friends that I know they have divorced, and of course some involve children, some do not. And I do see they have to go through certain emotional cycle, and the children need to go through that phase of adjusting themselves as well. And oftentimes my friends who are the parents, they themselves are lost, right? They themselves are lost and not knowing what to do. It's kind of like feeling helpless. At the same time, they have certain pain and hurtful feelings or experience that they do not know how to process as well. So I am very lucky I would say Body Mind Soul Live Talk is truly lucky to welcome Dr. Eva back with us today once again, where Dr. Eva have shared with us in March, which we also just posted a short clips on our social media. You can just check it out either on our Telegram or on our IG or on our Facebook, where she explained what family dynamics is all about and why is it so important, why her passion to talk about family dynamics, to share about family dynamics, to highlight and bring awareness about family dynamics. So family dynamics doesn't just happen in a you call it so-called a complete family where you have parents, mom and dad, husband and wife. Family dynamics also happen in a divorce situation, right? So, well, it is time for me to welcome the professional to really share with us, what is it, what should we look out for family dynamics in a single parent family. So let me warm up my palms to welcome Dr. Eva, which I follow her. Like I said, I am a fangirl in a way, but I become a friend. I hope she takes me as a friend. I already upfront say it out loud. She has no choice but to comply. So let us warm up our palms and yeah, just clap, 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 and welcome together with me. Let's welcome Dr. Eva, Eva Wong, PhD in Educational Psychology. Hi, Eva.
Hi, my friend Christina. Hi, everyone. Yeah, you're my friend. Obviously, yes. All
So
right.
I'm
Hi,
like,
everyone.
got no
Very
choice but to comply to it.
no,
All right.
truly. Yeah, it's my pleasure to have you as my friend.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Eva, it's so nice to have you back again, that we talk about family dynamics in single parent family. Um, I think before we really go through the entire conversation or even giving tips for anyone out there who, like what I said, I observe my friends, they are lost. Partly not just they themselves are broken, but they have to stand strong if it involves children, right? They have to stand strong. They have to continue to take care of their children. And their focus was on their children rather than on themselves. So this is something that I often realize that where and Eva, the thing is, oftentimes in a divorce situation, I think it's common for the community to prioritize female,
Mm.
and we kind of
Yep.
like neglected that male,
Yes.
the husband or the
Mm.
father, do have emotions that they need to process too, right?
Yes.
So I feel today is really good to have you, where you have gone through so many case studies and so
Mm-hmm.
many, consultation with different situation, that you can shed some lights to all those out there who are seeking for some idea how to start or how to kickstart this entire journey to create a balanced family dynamics in a single parent family. But before
Okay.
that, Eva, what is your view about all these numbers, the 76,786? So
Mm.
anything that kicks in your mind when it comes to these
Okay.
divorce statistics?
I read about the statistic as well, and then when I read through the past trend, right,
Mm-hmm.
the divorce rate is actually increasing every year. Like
Wow.
in 2018, 2019, it increased by about 12%. So just now you shared the statistics around 78,000. 78,000. It's happened just March,
34.8%.
yeah, which is about 78,000 cases, right? 76,000
Mm,
cases around there.
mm,
It's happened on March 2020 to August 2021. Right. I
yeah.
think, yeah, I would say it is not a very pleasant figures. Right. Nobody wants this to happen because everyone, when they go into marriage, they are hoping for a long-term relationship. But on
Happy
the other
everlasting.
side,
Happy
yes,
everlasting.
yeah, correct. But on the other side, when I look at this figure,
Mm,
I tend to have a different kinds of view. I feel
mm,
that the educational level actually increased. I feel that people maybe they really know what they want. And
mm,
maybe on the other hand is the myth of divorce is actually reducing. Traditional
mm,
points of view
mm,
is like once you get married, if you divorce, right, it is like a very shameful thing to your family. But when
mm,
people started to be able to accept this is not shameful, and I have my
mm,
rights to decide whether I want to carry on or I want to stop the relationship. So it's take a lot of courageous. So I just want to highlight the
mm,
first thing is to all those friends. Maybe now you are in a very sad situation. Now you are single or you just divorced. I just want to say it is just part of our life. We've gone through many things. So marriage is only one small part of our life because we have many things to do. And even
mm,
divorce is also part of our life. Of course, I'm not saying that I encourage people to divorce. No, that's not my intention. I am still
yeah.
hoping that couple they can now go into more communication. They can seek for marital counseling or they can seek for family
Mm,
counseling to
mm,
reconnect or rebond the relationship. But if we
mm.
really go into a very destructive marriage, I think it is the right time, not for only for women, even for men, to put a stop. So everybody have the right to start and have the right to say no to a destructive marriage.
Mm, mm. And you have just bring out that the first myth is, oftentimes we thought divorce is a flaw in my life or in our life. If we are
Yes.
to take that action, if we are to acknowledge that, hey, I have really, or me and my spouse have really given all we can, and we tried different methods to reconcile our relationship, but it have really come to a conclusions or a situation that we feel divorce will be the best solution so that both of us can live a happier life for individual, right? And
Yep.
like what you said, I love, Eva, like your perspective. Looking at the numbers increasing, yes, one part of us feel sad that like our a traditional old culture of our parents or our grandparents, marriage wisdom somehow
Mm,
can't carry forward in our current society pace. But at the same time, you give us a perspective that, hey, it might be also that now people are more willing to face with courage to face this challenge of really going out to say out loud, this is what I want and this is
yep,
making me happier if this is done in a nicer way, right? So this is
yep.
the myth number one. How about myth number two? What will be your say in this, which is I
Okay.
am not deserving?
I'm not deserving mean I'm not good enough. Right.
Mm-hmm,
I think that is the same thing. I think often in marriage, especially those who brought up in a unhappy family, like when we come back to family dynamic, we talk about how family dynamic affect individual grown up, their
mm-hmm,
psychology, be it from our own family dynamic as well. So if let's say we are always grown up in a situations that yeah, I don't deserve good thing, I don't deserve happiness, right?
mm-hmm,
I have to please people rather than for people to come and please me. So I always put myself at a secondary positions rather than in a primary position. Of course, this will bring more disaster when you are in a marriage. So I always share this. It's really a very challenging things to go into marriage. Marriage is not a joke. It is not like, oh, I'm going to try it. It is like a very long-term commitment that challenge individual responsibility,
mm-hmm,
promises, all right, and then it's also a very challenging journey to make sure that you are very consistent since day one of your marriage and all the way throughout the life.
mm-hmm,
So it is
mm-hmm,
not really very easy, and of course, not everybody can go through the whole thing, the whole process. So it
mm-hmm,
is really okay. I go back to the number one. It is really okay to put a stop if you think that you are not able to carry on to this relationship. So when
mm-hmm,
you talk about people, I don't deserve it, mean I'm not good enough. But I would say that nobody is good enough for everything. You
mm-hmm,
and I, we have our own what do you call that, flaw as well in our life. We are not good enough in everything, but are you willing to try? Because it's step two to tango. If both partner they are matured enough, they are willing to try,
mm-hmm,
they are willing to give and take. So marriage in another form is I give you take, you give I take. So how
mm-hmm.
much we are willing to compromise will make us a perfect couple. So a perfect doesn't
Mm.
have a proper definition. It is how you and I connect and blend into each other life.
Wow, I like how you have just mentioned it. Oftentimes, right, when we grew up as a girl, I think one of the live talk with I remember it was a speaker, it was a guest from Australia, Siobhan, and she said we grew up with Disneyland princesses fantasy,
Mm, okay.
right? That yeah,
Mm,
like all the story is always prince and princess married towards the end and then happily ever after. And
mm,
we never had that education or someone who actually upfront telling us, hey, there are work to do when you commit in a relationship where you sign the papers. There are still work to do. And when I look at my friends when they got married younger at a younger age, I have to say that the divorce rate was actually higher because they
mm,
did not know what they got into, and no one was there to hold their hand and let
yep.
them know, hey, it's not just a wedding reception. It's much more than after the wedding reception.
Mm, mm. So just
Right? We
I
spend
do.
lavishly. Yeah,
Yeah.
we spend lavishly during the wedding reception. But how about what you have just mentioned, the commitment,
Mm,
that initiative to communicate with each other, the responsibilities, that embracing each other flaws and admiring each other
yes.
goodness.
Yes.
We talk about embracing flaws, but hardly we talk about appreciating the goodness in each other as well,
Mm,
willingly, right? So this is important when it comes to marriage, which is something that, it was part of our discussion, like what is marriage in the end, and how all these things didn't meet, and it leads to the situation of a
Mm.
divorce situation, right? So we
Yep.
do have talk about divorce is a flaw, the myth one, divorce is a flaw in our life. And me too, I'm not deserving, partly also due to our upbringing,
Mm.
our original family. And how about myth number three? What would be your say, Eva?
Mm.
My children will not have a complete family. And I think um, this happened a lot to female friends.
Mm. Yes.
For my guy friends who've gone through divorce, their concern is more about how am I going to be connect with my children?
Mm.
How am I going to support or some who are very responsible, they will actually think of that angle. But for female, they will consider this more. So, Eva, what
Yeah.
is your say on this?
Yeah, of course. I think a lot of female or a lot of mother, they
Mm,
wanted to continue with the marriage, even though it might be a very destructive marriage, mainly
mhm,
because of the children. They have the thought that happy family should be a nuclear family. Nuclear family means father, mother, and children. It is always the myth, actually. Why I say this is the myth? I have read a lot of articles, a lot of research paper from overseas, and you'll be
mm,
surprised that a lot of paper from overseas, whether they are from Australia, they are from New Zealand, they are from US, that tends to come to a very similar conclusion. Children
mhm,
who grown up in a single parent family, they have the same psychological well-being like those children who brought up in a nuclear family. That means if you have a father, mother, and the children, intact, the
mhm,
so-called intact traditional family, and you are from
mhm,
single parent family, the psychological well-being are the same. Mean they are not losing behind. That means they are not really, unhealthy, as in they are depressed, they feel inferior. And when you read through all the paper and you realize one thing very important in common is all the mindset about the single parent. Whether you are the father, whether you are the mother, how are you going to carry on and build a very healthy environment for the child is important. Rather than you keep drilling, oh, I shouldn't do this. I blame myself because of me. And when I decided to divorce, that's why I cannot give my child a very intact and complete family. And this is going to be
mm,
destructive for her future or for the child future. Right. So we
mm,
have to come to a very clear mind. I want to sustain this relationship not because of my children. No, I want to sustain this relationship because of myself and my couple. We are willing to give it another try. So don't take the children first as an excuse. They will feel very hurt. This is one thing. Secondly,
mm.
don't take the children's as a avoiding strategy because I do not want. I am not going to accept. I'm going to divorce. So I take my children's as an excuse. I want to carry on in this marriage. So this is not going
It's
to
like
work.
a hidden benefit.
Yes, hidden benefit, correct. So it is not going to work. The best thing why single family they can rear or they can keep the children to be healthy. All right, they can educate the children. The children can still be healthy because the mindset of these single parents are very important. We have to learn to forgive. We have to learn to forget. We have to learn to carry on our life together with this child. I think this is more important and appropriate.
And we are going to dive in deeper when it comes to the tips and a little bit
Hmm.
solutions on how we can face a divorce situation in creating a balanced family dynamics. But to all the audience or even viewers, if you're watching this, if you have any question, please feel free to ask on the comment, or leave a comment or PM private messages as well if you feel you want to remain private. We welcome you to write into us, and we will connect you with Eva directly as well. Yeah. So if you have any question that pop up in your mind, or you want to ask on behalf of your friend, please feel free to do so. Uh, Eva, while you're sharing those that you have shared, I feel to kind of explain a little bit what, so that our audience have an idea, because some
Mm.
people might not know they are in a destructive marriage situation. So
Okay.
yeah, just shed some light. When you mention put and stop to a destructive
Exactly.
marriage, what kind of situations that you are referring to? Because it
Okay.
only came into my mind, destructive means abusive,
Oh,
like
okay.
physical abuse situation.
Of course, that definitely we have to put a stop. No
Mm-hmm,
excuse for
mm-hmm,
that for abusive
mm-hmm,
family. But when I talk about
mm-hmm,
destructive marriage or destructive relationship, I think it is
mm-hmm,
very important to ask yourself one question, right?
mm-hmm.
Mm, are you still feel very happy in this kinds of relationship? I think this is
Wow.
very important. Always seek inner. Are you still feel very fulfilling? Do you still want to carry on? When you look at your partner, how do you feel? Do you feel as you still love, you still want to carry on? This is the Mr. Right or Miss Right for you, or do you feel that you appreciate things that he do? Maybe destructive marriage. The term is a little bit heavy, but but I still think that this term is very alerting to many of us to really think back. Is this the kinds of relationship that you want?
Mm,
If yes, then of course carry on. Right. If it
mm,
is no, seek for solution. Solution doesn't mean we'll end up in divorce. Solutions can mean we try to sit down and we try to communicate. We try to reconnect. We try to find spark in our life.
mm,
Or how to light up our marriage. Then how to get ourselves and myself and yourself connect to each other. So this is what I always want my friends or even my clients to really understand. I'm dealing
mm.
mostly with children, but of course, when the family come to me, they come in one whole family. So when I look at how father and mother talk to each other, how they share their idea, I can get a lot of you know um, case study.
Insights.
Like, yes, I can learn a lot actually from them. It is not because they don't love each other. It is because they
Mm,
forget how to love each other. They already forget.
mm.
Just like Christina, you buy shoes, right? I buy shoes. A lot of us we like to buy shoes, right? When we buy a new shoes, we love it so much. We take care of the shoes, but when days
Oh
goes by,
yeah,
wear and tear, right? The shoes become worn. It's become old. But of course, we still
it
like the
doesn't
shoes.
matter.
Yes, because the comfortable level increase. When you wear those shoes, you feel comfy. Although it is not new, you doesn't have the loving feeling like when you first bought the shoes. But you go,
The tender feeling.
yes, you go into a more comfortable. Oh, this is a suitable shoes. When I wear these shoes, I feel comfortable. Right. So marriage is just like go from a very tender and loving relationship to a very
Mm,
comfortable relationship. So if you are still feeling I'm very comfortable in these kinds of relationship, yes, I think this is carry on. This is the right relationship. If you think something is not right, I don't like it, right? I don't even want to
mm,
talk to him, right? When I see him, I feel angry. I don't feel love. He doesn't love me anymore. If you really go to this type of thought, I think it is the right time to really sit down and think, right? What should I
mm,
do before we really end up in a very destructive marriage?
mm. Mm, mm, mm. And I hope, this kind of like give an idea to anyone out there who is currently wondering what is wrong with my marriage. Then perhaps this is another perspective and questions that we can ask ourselves and journal down, so that you have a clearer or clarity. At the same time, Eva keep on stressing and emphasizing, go seek for a consultant, marriage consultant, family consultant before making any big decision, right? And again, we must reiterate that we are not here to encourage you to divorce, but we are here to also, share with everyone what can we do to make it better. If you have already made this decision, what can we do for ourselves? What can we do for our children, to kind of like repair the entire situation, to minimize the damage or the painful experience that we often seen in all those dramas and soap operas, or series that perhaps has brainwashed us thinking that, hey, if we divorce, that should be the way. But miracles do happen, when each other still have love for their children. I'm sure they will come to a situation where we can do something better. So, Eva, I feel it's important to understand, especially, recently we have this under Body Mind Soul, we have this TGIF Men Circle where men, it was hosted by men, and they
Mm,
openly talk about and encourage men to really face the emotions, to embrace themselves, and to have heart to heart talk. Um, so we why is it important to buff all this myth?
mm,
How will that impact whether to the father or the mother when they go separate ways in a family?
mm. You mean
Will
the
it
need?
like is it
Mm-hmm.
yeah? What is it? Why is it important to surpass all this myth? How can this impact them in a family? No doubt they have separated, but they are still a family, right? Do
Yeah,
they consider as a family in your view?
definitely. Yes, especially there's attachment of children.
Mm,
When there's
mm,
attachment of children, even though the husband and wife, they cannot carry on their life as a husband and wife, but they still have
mm,
the duty and responsibility as a father and mother. I think
mm,
this is very important. Even when two-person decided not to be together, they share the same
mm,
duty and responsibility to educate, to
mm,
raise the children, to provide the love, and then to provide the care, to make sure that the children grow in a healthy environment. Therefore,
mm,
why we need to address all those myths, because those myths are usually obstacle in our life. We are being blind by some of the because of some of the myths, so we carry on the relationship. Even though in certain relationship, when we talk about nuclear relationships, like father, mother, and children staying in the same household, maintaining the same kinds of husband and wife legally relationship. But the problem is, if the parents always encounter in argument, they are always pinpointing to each other, criticizing each other. It doesn't give a very healthy environment to the children. So these
mm,
kinds of disaster relationship, I will use the word disastrous relationship because this will give children the idea they are going to end up in the same relationship in the future. So it will be
mm,
very difficult for them to trust the other partner, to really involve themselves, or to really go into a healthy relationship. Therefore,
mm,
ending of the marriage or carry on the same marriage, it is not just a decision of yes and no. It is about how are we going to sustain um, the relationship that can be healthy to the children. We are no longer husband and wife. I think it is okay, but we have the duty and responsibility to serve as a role model for our children, so that they have a good belief system that they are going to get into a healthy relationship, even though the parents are separated.
Well, you know what? Before we go into giving some tips and actual practices for those who are going through this process, let's change the mood a little bit. Let's change the mood a little bit. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, Eva, have you come across any situation where it's a very good divorce example of a family dynamics that actually come to you and seek for advice?
I have my friends. It's my friend.
Okay.
I know a friend. He was divorced with a wife. He's a man.
Mm,
I know him.
mm.
Right. He divorced with the wife, but they are still maintaining very good friendship.
Do they
Very,
have
very
children?
good. Yes, they have one daughter. They still maintain very good relationship. When he shared his story with me, I was very touched because this is the first case that they can maintain such a harmonious relationship. They care for each other. They still go out together with the daughter. All right. But now they are having their own individual family. But they still
Mm,
have the same mutual consensus that they have to maintain this kinds of relationship in order to take care of this daughter, to make sure that she's healthy mentally and, of course, psychologically. I do.
mm.
Right. So everything is possible.
It's
Right.
possible.
Yes. I'm very confident and I'm very positive. Even though the couple, they are no longer together, legally they are not husband and wife anymore. they still can have a very good, harmonious, and peaceful relationship. Importantly is do not complain, do not criticize. Yeah, just stay on, carry on, and then you play your part. I share my part, and together we work together because of these children. So not because I want to carry on certain kinds of commitment with you. No, because of these children, we have to be mature enough to handle our own emotions and behavior.
Mm. And I believe, it takes a lot of wisdom and a lot of will, and strength and courage to be in the position of your friend, right?
Yes.
Um, I'm sure they need to process their own emotions as well individually, right? Husband and wife, which is now uh, ex-husband and ex-wife. Well, I do have a friend that is the first time when I heard this story of hers, I was shocked because
Mhm.
in my surrounding, those who actually went through divorce, it wasn't a very good one. So inside me, I always thought that, when a person goes through divorce, it's nasty, it's ugly,
Mm.
right? I guess that's quite common in our community um, until I heard this friend of mine that still go out with the ex-spouse, ex-family in-laws. They can travel together because of her
Oh.
son. They can travel together, and the ex-husband actually have a new family, and they actually go out together, right? So
Oh.
it's quite, I would say, it shocked my perspective that things can happen in such a beautiful,
Yeah.
harmonious way, and it create a very good impact for her son. And I respect all the hard work that she
Mm.
and her ex partner put into to create that. So let's come into how can we do our part when if we are already in that situation of a single parent. So
Okay.
Eva, what is your first tips?
Um, it's not easy. Frankly speaking, it is not easy to be a single parent, especially when the other part, he or she is not going to fulfill his duty, right? So it is no way, always not easy. I would say,
Mm,
yeah, life is always uneasy, especially when you have to work, you have other commitment, and you have to take care of the child, right? So
mm, mm,
but there are still possibility, there are still different ways to reduce, right, to make sure that everything is going back to the right path. I think first thing I would like to share is about a more organized household. When I look at single parents, when I look at
mhm,
single parent, I think it is very common because as adult you have to work, you have to take care of the family, and then you tends to be in a little bit chaotic situations.
mhm,
So when you are outside, you have stress. When you come back, you have endless things to do. You have to do your housework, and you have to cook for your children. You have other things, a lot of other things to do, I would say. So it is
mm,
very
mm,
important to take this opportunity to really train the children to share the household. So to
mm,
me, I think one of the beautiful parts to be a single parent is you tends to build more emotional bonding, emotional connection with the child. When you
mm,
really get into the connections, you realize that they are very helpful, and they are willing to contribute, and they will be more
mm,
independent. That means you organize the household as in rules and boundaries. Certain things you have to allocate to your child to do. So they learn to
mm,
be independent. That doesn't mean that you have to do everything because you feel guilty. I've seen
mm,
parents, they get very tired in their life because they are single parent, they choose to divorce. So they feel very guilty to the child, and they wanted to give
mm,
everything to the child. They wanted to do everything. That's why they are very tired. And on the other side, the children are not going to be independent, and they get very fatigued emotionally, physically. So I think organized
mm,
household environment to make sure that every person, every children in the family, they share the housework, they share their duties, they are part of the household. This is to build more independent ability.
Mm. And I believe sometimes, when we give too much, I'm sure the children will kind of like took it for granted because they will
Yes.
say, hey, yeah, you should do this, mom should do that, dad should do that. In a more, I would say, a common divorce situation
Mm.
where the father will still continue to provide material support, right? And perhaps correct me if I'm wrong, Eva, the mother will be the one that take care of the daily things, all those small little things. So then sometimes the children will take it for granted that the father should provide, the mom should provide emotional support, and the
Yes.
father should provide material support because both of them are giving out of guilt. Yeah, so this is important that you highlight this so that those who are going through this, hey, this is one of the light that you might want to look into. If you do have that feeling of guilt, it's also great to seek for a professional to help you to process and go through that guilty phase and feelings and digest that emotions as well. Yeah. So how about tip number 2? You did mention, organized household is a bonding time, right,
Mm.
with the children.
Yes.
So you did mention to us is undivided attention with children. So Eva, what is it about this?
Yeah, it is very important to have a one-to-one conversation. And this one-to-one conversation doesn't mean that you have to spend an hour or 2 hours. It can be as little as 10 minutes per day, right? 10
Mhm.
minutes per day of very close, undivided attention mean there's no gadget, there's no laptop, there's no book. And it's just between you and I. We sit together. I look at you, you look at me, and we share about our daily life. So how do you feel? Yeah, anything bother you today? Share. Not only you ask the children to share. I think it is very important for the adult to share. I've encountered many family. They will sit down and they will talk to the children. But when they talk to the child, they are asking, very demanding question. Hey, tell me your
What?
school. Tell me, have
Oh,
you do
okay.
your homework? Tell me, what do you do today in the school? What do you eat in the school? Um, there's no emotional attachments. When we talk about
So what
emotional,
kind of questions that they should ask, Eva?
how do you feel today? If they keep quiet, you share about how do you feel today. If you are the mommy, like yeah, if I talk, I would say, I'm not doing too well in my office today. I'm feeling sad, and because of this, because of that, I'm feeling happy. Why? Share with her or share with him, share with the son or share with the daughter about your daily emotion, because we wanted the children to be more expressive and more daring in telling people about their emotion. I really encounter a lot of children, they do not know why they are not happy. They do not know why they are feeling sad. They know they are sad. When you ask them why, I don't know. Okay, what do you like to do in your daily life? I don't know. What is your interest? I don't know. Is it really they do not know, or is it they do not know how to express themselves? So it is very important for you and the child to really sit down face to face, one to one. Because don't forget, we as an adult, we need someone to talk to. Our children, they need someone to talk to. So it is a very cozy and very safe moment for both of you to really share from the bottom of your heart.
Hmm.
And
And
no
I
criticizing, no criticizing,
ah,
no judgment, no criticizing. Listen to what they want to say before you come up with your own remarks, positive
and I
remarks.
believe, a lot of
Mhm.
times as parents, whether single parents or parents, right? It doesn't matter. We parents often thinks they are right.
Yeah, it's a myth.
Their views are
Parenting myth.
right, their experience
Mm,
are right, and
mm,
it's for the good, for the highest good of you. I'm telling you this, so it's good that you highlight, it's without any criticism, without any
mm.
judgment, is mutual, equally, both are equally at the equal position. No one
Yes.
is higher, no one is lower, to have this bonding together, to have this undivided attention with the children, especially if you are going through a divorce situation. I mean, this is doable for not divorce situation as well, but if you are going through that, it's important to even have time. But Eva, is it has to be really like daily? Why you highlight daily 10 minutes?
It
Why?
is, if possible, I would say daily, because our emotional changes every single minute. every single hours. Every day we face a different situation. So it will be
Mm.
great if you can do it on a daily basis. But if you really can't, don't worry about that. It can be a week of 3 times conversations. If you really cannot make it, at least once a week. I mean, if you put in efforts, then you will get the result. If you choose not to share, not to talk, and the bonding are not going to happen. I really seen parents that come to me, a mother or the father come to me and tell me, hey, my son, he or she or my daughter, she's not willing to share anything with me.
Mm.
Why she's not willing? Because the family does not have the culture, does not have the habit of sharing. So,
Mm.
human beings are sometimes a bit weird. I use the word weird because we never create the environment and we are hoping the children to react in that way. Just like you never ask the child to do housework. And one day you think they should do the housework, but you never give the chance to them to practice, to learn about their duty and responsibility. And you are
Mm.
expecting them to know they have to do housework one day. I think this is not going to work.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Point taken. Heard you loud. Heard you loud. Well, let's go. Let's continue with understand what else we can do to create a balanced family dynamic in a divorce situation. And I think the third one will have a lot of question mark coming out from our audience, especially those who've gone through a rough divorce situation. I'm gonna flash it out straight. Eva, you mentioned repair relationship with ex-partner. Yeah.
Yeah, this is what I always stress in my blog, in my Facebook, right? When I'm sharing my points or my opinions, I always emphasize on repair relationship. Repair relationship doesn't mean that you want to patch back to the previous relationship. All right, you want to get into the marriage relationship with an ex-partner. It doesn't mean in that way. Repair as in we settle everything right now. We put a full stop, a real full stop and goodbye to one relationship. If you don't put a full stop and to say goodbye and to really end with a full stop, when you go into your next relationships, you're not going to be happy because you have unsettled feeling, right? You have a
Mm.
lot of doubts. You have a lot of unpleasant feeling being accumulated in your previous relationship. So when I say repair, it is not only for yourself, it is also for the goodness of the children. Once you repair, once you forgive, once you let go, and then both of you will go back to a very balanced and peaceful relationship. Even though you're no longer staying together, but once
Mhm.
your relationship is more peaceful, when you talk to the children, when you meet each other, right, discuss about the children's thing, there won't be a lot of emotional related argument involved. Both of you will be more rational, more logical, and really for the benefit of the children.
I have doubt in this, Eva.
Okay,
Please help me to clear my doubts.
I'll
So
try.
I'm kind of like asking on behalf as well. Um, since I'm not married yet, yeah. So just for
Oh,
the record
okay.
of the audience, confirm is asking on behalf. So
Okay.
there are two situations. Yeah,
Okay.
similar situation. Let's
Mm.
say I come across where the woman, the mother, wanted to repair relationship with the father, which is now
Yes.
they have divorced, but the father chose not to talk about it, chose
Yes.
not to have conversation, not to have communication. So in this situation, how can this mother continue to do her part to repair relationship with her ex-partner?
All right. One very important thing is when you are dealing with the children, do not talk about the bad thing about the father.
Mm.
I think this is very important. First thing. I know some partner, whether it's husband or it's a male or female. I mean, all right.
Mm.
Once
Mm.
they feel, they feel bad or they feel they are the victims in the relationship. All right. They
Mm.
tends to give a lot of criticizing remarks. I think first thing
Mm.
is we have to learn not to talk anything bad about our partner, our ex-partner, I mean. This is first thing.
Mm.
Second
Mm.
thing, what you can do is really have a very nice discussions that ask questions, of course, questions related to the children. Like, hey,
Mm,
I want to discuss with you because, you know, you are the father, I'm the mother. Like, for example, choosing the right school for the children. For
mm,
example, deciding any additional classes for the children. I mean, you still can start the conversation by asking nice questions.
mm,
If let's say the other partner has no idea, or I don't know, it's up to you, or then it's okay. Just put a full stop. Then you can try the next time as well. Because I know not only for men, some women on the other side, some
yes,
women are not ready.
yes.
They are
Yes,
not ready.
I was about to ask you. The other
Yes.
situation that I heard of from my friend was the man is ready to repair, but
Mm.
the woman
Woman
is
is not
not
ready.
ready. And he
Yes.
don't know when will the woman be ready, you see, because they have lived separate life.
Yes. So
Yeah.
it's okay. Just do your part. As long as you are ready, one day he
Mm,
or she might be ready. If forever he or she is
mm,
not ready, it's okay because we need to live, make sure that we are healthy, to make sure that on our side here, we are ready to carry on a more positive life so that we can have
mm,
a more emotional bonding. I mean, a positive emotional bonding with the children. So when I talk about repair relationship, sometimes it is not a mutual agreement. Sometimes one side,
mm,
but you just need to do your part to make sure that you are emotionally stable and try to get the opportunity to talk without any emotional attachment, right? With more logical tone. Of course, you yourself have to give, a more appropriate way of communication. If the other party is not
mm.
ready, don't worry. Just wait and respect because that is their choice. I tell you, if they are not ready, usually they don't feel happy in their life
Mm,
because
mm,
this thing
mm, mm.
is not going to end. It is going to carry on to their next relationship.
Yeah, but Eva, as you're talking and sharing about, and we take our part to do our best, to be ready, to repair. You mentioned things like make sure that you are emotionally stable. If that's the case, then this repairing has a lot to do with the next pointer that you say is reconnect with self. It's like this repairing is basically we take the initiative, whichever gender, whether it's the male or the female. If the other
Mm.
party is not receptive, right, the other side is not receptive, it is up to us to heal ourselves. Is that correct? If not, how can I being sour and pain because of the entire divorce process, and then I have to be rational, be emotional stable to go and talk to you when you are
Yes,
saying no and you give me that kind of look. I'm sure it creates lots of conflicts from there, right?
yes.
So Eva, what's your say on this?
It is always a learning process. It is going
Mm,
to be up and down. You feel ups when you think you are ready to heal, you are ready to reconnect to yourself, and on the other side, the ex partner give you certain negative remarks. It's bring you down. So it is
yeah.
always like going up the mountain, going down to the mountain. So self-awareness are important. You know when you are not ready. You have to know when you are down. And you have to allow yourself to feel down. You have to allow yourself to feel sad. Many of us,
Wow.
we have the myth, we have the myth, I cannot feel sad. I cannot feel down because I have to take care of my children. Because I have to work, I have to earn a living. I have so many things to do. I cannot feel down, but you have to allow yourself to feel down to recover before you can move forward. This is very
Mm,
true, and unfortunately, a lot of adults they are not going to accept. They do not allow themselves to get sad, to feel hurt. It is perfectly okay to feel sad. It is perfectly okay to cry. And it is perfectly okay if you want to hide yourself in the room and you want to stay in the room for 3 days because you need time to recover. So give yourself ample time to do that. Allow yourself to heal yourself. The best way is accompany yourself and then be quiet. Listen to your heart. I think this is important. I do not know how many of you agree. This is what I usually share. You have to enjoy the downtime, which is not easy. All right, I know people might say, "Hey, Eva Wong, you are crazy," but This is
I think the audience are like question mark. What do you mean enjoying the downtime
yeah. You
and
know what I
endure the
did?
pain, suffer in the pain?
This is why I dare to stay like this, because I
Mm,
encountered the same experience before. The
mm,
more you push yourself to force yourself to get up from that downtime, now the slower you will heal. So the best way is really follow the flow. Everything happened for a good reason, really. I'm not saying this because I want to, no, just to comfort everyone. I'm saying this because it is exactly my experience. I really felt very down before. And I try to resist. The more you resist, the more downtime you will experience. You're not going to be happy for a very long time. But when you learn, it is okay to feel down. Now, if I feel down, I can go without doing anything. All right, I can allow myself to daydream. I allow myself to feel stressed, to feel sad. And then I try to find different way to comfort myself, like going for a nice coffee, going for good books. I give myself ample times to recover. I think this is very important. When you are able to enjoy that kinds of process, you will get stronger, and you will get more resilient in your life.
Eva, what if that person really really not enjoy, allow themselves, herself or himself to go through this process, but the more they go through, they become like thinking they are the victim of the situation and things like that. I'm sure you're not referring to when you said you allow yourself to go through the pain, to sit in the pain, or to give that space to heal, right? So what if that person really turns to the other side, like, yeah, I'm just like this, I'm not going to do anything about it? What
Yeah.
would be your advice for this?
All right. That's why some people they need to seek for professional advice. They need
Mm,
mentor.
mm,
Even not professional advice, they need a very positive friend who is ready to be by their side to tell them,
mm,
hey, it might be the time for you to come out. It's too long. You're inside the cave for too long, right? You might need
mm.
someone that you trust and someone who trusts you, and then to be there to
Cheerleaders in
give
your
you.
life.
Yes, you need that. Or better still, if you are willing to share with a professional, a counselor, just talk to them. Right. I believe
Mm,
that a lot of a professional with counseling background, with therapy background, they will tell you the same thing. Right. Give yourself some time to recover. Do not overstress and force yourself. But of course,
mm,
we are not going to put you in a very negative situation for too long. Right. There will be some solutions that you feel comfortable to give it a try. There might be some actions that you are ready to give it a try. Just try it. It is about
mm.
process. And along the way, I believe that you will really find a more meaningful uh, self, right? You will realize that you are actually can be a better person.
Mm, Good, good. Today, the audience, they are all quite quiet. Uh, so that's why I'm like asking all the questions that I can think of. And you know what, Eva, through your sharing, I have a friend that are considering of divorce, but I feel today Live Talk it's gonna give them a different perspective of doing things, because you emphasize a few round, you stress a few round. You know what? Before make this, go look for a consultant. You know, go have a communication. Do your work to whether you divorce or not. In the end, it's still the first step is reconnect back with ourselves. You know,
Yes.
heal ourselves. Acknowledge and accept the fact that we are feeling hurtful, we are feeling pain, we're feeling sour, we feel the anger, we feel disappointment, you know, all those little puff of negative emotions that we try to push it away. And once and for all, we allow ourselves to just acknowledge and accept, yeah, so this is how I feel. And you did mention, then from there, we can stand up and become more resilient. Eva, what will be based on this topic today that we talk about, let me just bring this out again. The family dynamics in a single parent family. You highlighted something very interesting just now that when we talk about the myth, the number one myth is divorce is a flaw in my life. It's definitely not, because it takes courage for us or for a person to really finally acknowledge and realize this is something what we want to do, and we come to a conclusion to do it and end it in a nicer tone if possible, right? And the
Mm.
myth number two, I am not deserving. Oftentimes it is due to our upbringing, but that is not true. And number three, this is the most important thing. Um,
Mhm.
my children will not have a complete family where you share based on research paper from Australia, from New Zealand, from US, actually the child grew up having the same, what was the word that you say that you used just now?
Psychological well-being.
Psychological well-being, comparing a single parent family with a complete nuclear family, right? And and I believe they have a good, I would say, healthy psychological behavior as well, comparing being in a family, the child that grew up in a family that is destructive, that is
Yes.
disastrous, that is oftentimes have a lot of accusation, argument, blaming, and seeing the parents suffer in staying in a marriage, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And yes, okay. So, and what would be your last takeaway,
Okay.
or last advice to those who really want to and have that heart to have a harmonious and balanced family dynamics in a single parent family?
Okay. There are always up and down in our life, right? And I think most of us agree that life is not too short and it is not too long. Yeah, I think this is one of the things that we encounter. The same patterns in our life. So marriage is basically part of our life. It is not everything. It is not everything. If you decided to go into the marriage relationship, I mean, yes, just go for it. Yeah, this is your decision and this is your choice. If you decided to pull yourself up from a marriage relationship, I would say, why not? No problem, because it is still your choice and your decision. Anyway, your life is your life. It is not others people's life. But many times I realize that we have so many hesitation because we always live under the comments of people. People think, you're not supposed to do that, and this is not good for you. So I really want to tell everyone, this is your decision. So you make the decision, but you have to bear the consequences. So it is not only about the decisions you're making today. What about, do you have the courageous to face the outcome in the future? If you decided to pull yourself up, then you have to come up with a solution to take good care of your children. In order to
Mm,
take good care of your children, you yourself must be healthy first. So always come back to ourselves. I know you love your children, but you have to love yourself first. I know you care
mm,
about your children, but you have to care yourself first. If you love yourself, you care about yourself, then only you have the strength to love your children and care for your children. So come back
mm.
to yourself.
Mm, mm, mm. And I believe, it does not matter how old we are or how old are you, as long as a person goes through a divorce, it will definitely impact the parents and the children. So definitely having a right mindset, a right heart set, and maybe perhaps seek for professional advice, professional consultation. It is a requirement to go through the entire process, and it applies to parents and children in different ages. As you shared, right, it just bring out, I know a family that the mother chose to stay in the marriage,
Mm,
and I actually see how this impact the three children that they have.
mm,
One got married very very early because want to separate out from their original family, and another one refused to be in a marriage because that girl didn't see any benefits being in a marriage. and uh, and of course the youngest one is still young, not sure what she or he wants. Yeah.
mm,
So I believe, everything, like what you say, everything happened for a reason, and it takes courage to make a decision, and always come back to ourselves to heal. You mentioned the word be healthy, and I assume when you said healthy, it's not just the physical health that you're talking about. You're talking about your mental health, your emotional well-being, your psychological well-being. That is where the right mindset and the right heart set is required.
Yes.
So I would say, you know what, thank you so much, Eva, for sharing with us in this today topic, family dynamics in single parent family. And for all those, if you have any question, if you follow through us, and if you watch the replay up to this point, you feel you need a professional advice, you can always look for Eva, Dr. Eva at happyland.edu.my. And also, because of today's topic, and we would like to also share out on the comment that a postgraduate asked us if we can help out to shout out a questionnaire content. So on Facebook, you have this link, it's a questionnaire from a postgraduate of Shooter University of Science and Technology Institute of Human Nature and Sexuality. Once you click into that link, there will be explanation and why this postgraduate is doing what he or she doing. And you know what, do help us out to create more to collect more data. And yeah, so with that, I would say have a good weekend. And for those who are going through a difficult or challenging period because of a divorce situation, know that you are not alone, and Body Mind Soul is here with you. And if you have anything, you kind of miss it out, you can always reach out to us, and we will link you to the right professional, and we will link you to Eva as well. At the same time, while if you feel you need that space for yourself and not seeking any professional advice, it is okay. You can still join our Body Mind Soul community, because we have lots of articles in our volumes, yeah, where it start off with healing self-healing and self-reconnection, self-reconciliation. So it's a free membership, and we have all the articles and steps there to perhaps shed some lights and shed some love for you as well. So just know that you're not alone, and anytime you can reach out to anyone for help. So with that, I'll say thank you, Eva, for joining us on this beautiful afternoon, and sharing so much information and so much tips for all those who are going through a situation as such. And we look forward to have you again to talk about something else, maybe different perspective again about family dynamics. It's such an interesting topic, and because of you, I start to have more interest in family dynamics as well. So
All right.
thank you, Eva. Yeah, have a good
Thank you.
evening. Bye
You
to
too.
everyone. Yeah, bye bye.